Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Today we're going to be looking at something pretty cool, customizable math apps.
Oh yeah,
Have you heard about
I
these?
have. Yeah, they're pretty fascinating.
Yeah, so, those are the apps that can kind of make math a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, and we're pulling all this from a 2017 workshop in Singapore
Oh wow.
where teachers all got together to really explore the potential of these apps, and
Yeah.
it's some pretty interesting stuff.
I think you're gonna be really surprised by what we dig into here.
Yeah, and the best part is this isn't just for classrooms.
Yeah.
This is for anyone who's interested in exploring math in a more interactive way.
Exactly.
But let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
The workshop really focused on some key tools and resources that
Yeah.
we're going to break down for you, and then we're going to go into the benefits of customization and look at some specific apps.
Sounds great.
So are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's start with kind of a big one. Open educational resources.
Yes, OERS.
Or ERs.
OERs.
Oh, ERs, that's right.
Okay, so for someone who doesn't know what that is, what are we talking about?
So basically, think about a giant free library of amazing educational materials available to anyone with an internet connection.
Okay, so it's kind of like Wikipedia, but for education.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
All right, I'm already on board.
Yeah.
But what makes OERs so special for math apps? Why are we even talking about this?
Well, one of the big tools they highlighted at this workshop was easy JavaScript simulations, or EJS.
Okay.
And this is really the engine behind a lot of these customizable math apps.
Okay.
And here's where it gets really interesting. EJS is open source.
Okay, so again, for those of us who aren't like programmers,
Sure.
what does that mean?
That means anyone with some basic coding knowledge can go in and modify these apps.
Oh, wow.
So teachers can actually tailor them to their own specific lesson plans or even create their own apps from scratch.
That's amazing. It is. And developers are constantly contributing to this growing library of EJS resources, so they just keep getting more powerful and more versatile.
So it's like a community effort to make math more accessible and engaging for everyone.
Exactly. It's pretty incredible.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Okay, let's be real. Not all of us are coding whizzes.
right.
Did they address that at the workshop?
They did. They introduced the participants to platforms like GeoGebra and Desmos.
Oh, yeah.
You might have heard of these.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is how user-friendly they've made this whole creation process.
Okay.
You don't need to be a coding expert to design these really visually stunning and interactive math experiences.
So are they kind of like the user-friendly version of EJS?
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Or you can still get creative, but you don't have to, write lines of code?
You got it. And they're constantly evolving, new features, new resources being added all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's a really exciting time to be involved in this world.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all super cool and everything, but I'm still curious about how these apps actually work.
Okay.
Like, how do they make math more engaging? How do they make it more hands-on?
Well, that's where virtual manipulatives come in.
Okay.
Remember like those clunky wooden blocks we used to play with in math class?
Oh, yeah.
Well, imagine those, but like supercharged for the digital age.
I'm getting flashbacks to trying to stack those blocks and always having them fall over.
For sure.
But I'm guessing these virtual manipulatives are a little bit more sophisticated.
A lot more sophisticated.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got virtual scales to explore measurement digital clocks to practice telling time, and you can even have 3D shapes that you can rotate on your screen and unfold.
Oh, wow.
These tools really bring those math concepts to life in a way that like a static textbook just never could.
That makes so much sense. It's like taking those abstract concepts out of the textbook and putting them right there in your hand, even if it is virtual.
Exactly, and making it so much more tangible.
Yeah. Okay, but I do want to see some concrete examples here.
Sure.
So what are some of these customizable math apps they were showcasing at the workshop?
Okay, well, there's the primary school numbers from 1 to 100 app, and you can adjust that to focus on different number ranges.
Yeah.
Or highlight different properties of numbers.
Oh, so like if a teacher is focusing on multiplication facts, they could have the app only show multiples of 5 or 7.
Exactly. It creates a targeted practice environment for students to really hone in on those skills.
That's so cool.
And then there's the mass or weighing scale model app, which is basically like having a virtual balance scale right there on your device.
Okay, I can see how that would be way more engaging than just reading about weights and measurements in a book.
Oh, for sure. And you can adjust the units of measurement, add or remove weights from the scale. You can even introduce challenges involving fractions or decimals.
Oh, wow.
So it's really great for teaching proportional reasoning and problem-solving skills.
So it's like you're taking a traditional math manipulative and then just making it infinitely adaptable.
Exactly. And you can start with really simple scenarios for younger learners and then just gradually increase that complexity as they get more confident.
I love that.
And for those who struggle with telling time, there's the Telling Time app.
Ooh.
You can control the speed of the virtual clock display or hide the digital time alongside the analog clock.
Yep.
And you can even challenge students to set the clock to specific times.
Oh my gosh, I was terrible at telling time on an analog clock. I wish I had that when I was a kid.
I think a lot of us were.
Yeah.
It's such a visual and spatial skill,
Hmm.
and having that interactive element can really make a difference.
It really can.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the 3D geometry apps.
Okay.
I'm especially intrigued by the ones that let students like manipulate the nets of different shapes. It's
Yeah.
like a puzzle and a geometry lesson all rolled into one.
Right.
So what are some of the ways that you can customize those apps?
Well, you can choose to display the net of a single shape, like a cube or a pyramid, or you can show multiple nets side by side so students can compare them. And you can highlight specific edges or faces, or even rotate the net in 3D space to give them a really complete understanding of the shape.
It's like taking those flat 2D shapes from the textbook and making them come to life.
Exactly, and it just makes it so much
Yeah.
more intuitive.
Okay.
And these apps aren't just about visualization, they're also about problem solving.
Oh, okay.
So you can create challenges where students have to identify which nets will fold into a specific shape.
Oh.
Or you can even have them design their own nets
Oh, wow.
based on certain criteria.
So it's like taking the fear out of geometry and just replacing it with curiosity and a sense of play.
Exactly.
I love that.
That's really what it's all about, making math more engaging, more accessible, and just more relevant for all learners.
And it really empowers the teachers to break free from those limitations of traditional textbooks
Yeah.
and create those really dynamic learning experiences.
Absolutely, and that's something we're going to dig into a lot more. But what about the workshop itself?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned it was collaborative.
Yeah. It sounds like it was more than just a presentation.
It really was. The organizers encouraged the participants to share ideas, suggest modifications to the apps, and even contribute to their development.
Wow.
It was really a testament to the power of open source software and collaboration in education.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was really inspiring to see.
So you have teachers from all over with different backgrounds, different experiences
Yeah.
coming together and really wanting to make math more accessible for everybody.
It's pretty amazing.
It is, and it really makes you think about the potential. If this was happening on a larger scale,
Right.
could we really revolutionize math education?
I think we already are in a way.
Yeah.
The rise of these customizable math apps is definitely a game changer.
Yeah.
We're no longer limited by those static textbooks or the one-size-fits-all software.
Right.
Teachers have the tools now to create these dynamic, interactive, personalized learning experiences that really cater to each student's individual needs and interests.
It's like giving every student their own personal math tutor.
Yeah, but one that's infinitely patient.
Yes, and never gets tired of explaining fractions.
Exactly.
Huh.
But seriously, the potential here is huge.
Oh, it is.
I mean, imagine a world where every student has access to math learning experiences that are really tailored to their own individual strengths, interests, and learning styles.
A world where math isn't something that you're afraid of.
Right.
It's something that you can actually explore and have fun with.
Exactly. And these apps are just the beginning.
Yeah.
As technology continues to evolve, I think we're just going to see even more amazing things happen in the world of math education.
So what can our listeners do to be a part of this?
Well, the first step is just to be aware of the possibilities.
Okay.
Explore the resources we're going to link in the show notes, connect with other educators who are using these tools, and just don't be afraid to experiment.
And if you're a teacher, think about how you can use these apps to transform your classroom.
Start small.
Yeah.
Choose one app that you think will work well with your curriculum, and then just play around with it.
Yeah.
Try different customization options.
Share your experiences with your colleagues.
Collaborate.
Yeah.
Come up with new ideas.
And most importantly, never stop learning and exploring.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, this world is constantly evolving.
It is, and the possibilities really are endless.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the future of math education.
My pleasure.
And remember, whether you're a student, a teacher, or just someone who's curious about the power of technology to transform learning, just keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.
Okay, so we've talked about this primary school numbers app from 1 to 100.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of basic, like on the surface.
Right.
What makes it so special?
Well, I mean, on the surface it seems simple, but that's kind of the beauty of it
Okay.
because it focuses on those really fundamental number concepts.
Huh.
You can adapt it in so many ways. So let's say you're teaching about prime numbers.
Okay.
You could configure the app to like visually highlight all the prime numbers
Oh,
and
wow.
make them just pop for the students.
So it's not just about drilling facts.
Right.
It's about helping them understand those patterns, the
Exactly.
relationships between
Yeah,
numbers.
and you can adjust the number range to focus on specific sets, like even numbers, odd numbers, factors, multiples, you name it.
Oh, wow.
It's all about aligning the app with your specific lesson plan and your students' needs.
So I'm picturing a teacher using this with a group of students who are learning about fractions.
Yeah,
Could they customize the app to help them visualize equivalent fractions?
absolutely.
Yeah.
You could have the app display a set of numbers and then have the students identify which ones can be represented as equivalent fractions.
Oh, cool.
It takes a concept that can be really abstract and makes it so much more concrete and hands-on.
That's a really good example.
Yeah.
It really highlights that power of customization. Instead of just being stuck with the generic worksheet,
Right.
you can create an experience that is tailored to each student's needs.
Exactly. And that kind of personalization can really make a big difference, especially for students who might struggle with traditional math instruction.
Okay, I'm sold on the primary school numbers, right? But let's move on to another one that you mentioned earlier,
Sure.
the mass or weighing scale model app.
Okay.
What are some creative ways that that one can be customized?
Well, one of the things I love about this app is that you can switch between different units of measurement.
Oh, okay.
So if you're working with students who are learning to convert between grams and kilograms or ounces and pounds,
Yeah.
you can have them actually manipulate the virtual weights and see how the units change on the scale.
So they're actually like getting a real world understanding
Right. It's not just memorizing those formulas.
of measurement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can increase the complexity as they get more comfortable. You know, you might start with just a few simple weights.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they get more proficient, you can introduce more challenging scenarios,
Yeah.
involving fractions, decimals,
Yeah.
maybe even different types of objects that have varying densities.
It's like turning math into a game.
It is. And the best part is you can adjust the difficulty to match their skill level. So it's always challenging, but never overwhelming.
I love that.
Yeah,
All right, so the Telling Time app offers a similar level of customization.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can adjust the speed of the clock. You can choose to show or hide the digital time. And you can even create challenges where the students have to set the clock to a specific time.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier. I was always terrible at telling time on an analog clock.
Really?
Oh, I wish I had this app when I was a kid.
I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah,
It's such a visual and spatial skill, and having that interactive element can just make a huge difference.
totally. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about those 3D geometry apps. I'm especially intrigued by the ones that let students manipulate the nets of different shapes.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like a puzzle and a geometry lesson all in one.
Right.
So what are some customization options for these?
So you can choose to display the net of a single shape, like a cube or a pyramid, or you can show multiple nets side by side so students can compare them.
Okay.
You can highlight specific edges or faces, or you can even rotate the net in 3D space to really give them a complete understanding of the shape.
It's like taking those flat 2D shapes from the textbook and making them come to life.
Exactly, and making it so much more intuitive for them.
Yeah?
And these apps aren't just about visualization. They're also about problem solving.
Oh,
You can create challenges where students have to identify which nets will fold into a specific shape or have them design their own nets based on certain criteria.
it's like you're taking the fear out of geometry
Yeah,
and replacing it with curiosity and that sense of play.
exactly. And that's really what these customizable math apps are all about. Making math more engaging, more accessible, and more relevant for all learners.
They empower teachers to break free from the limitations of those traditional textbooks.
Yeah.
And create those dynamic learning experiences that we were talking about.
Absolutely. And what about the workshop itself?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that it was a collaborative effort.
Yeah, it sounds like it was more than just a presentation.
It really was. The organizers encouraged the participants to share their ideas, suggest modifications to the apps, and even contribute to their development.
Wow.
It was a true testament to the power of open source software and collaboration in education.
It's just so inspiring, that collaborative spirit.
It is.
It's like a group of educators coming together to create something really amazing.
Yeah,
And not just for their own students, but for learners everywhere.
exactly. And it really shows you the power of technology to break down those barriers
Yeah.
and just create this sense of shared purpose in education.
Makes you wonder, if this was happening on a larger scale, could we revolutionize math education?
Well, I think we already are in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, the rise of these customizable math apps,
Mhm.
it really is a game changer.
Yeah.
We're not limited by those static textbooks or the one-size-fits-all software anymore.
Right.
Teachers have the tools to create these dynamic and interactive and personalized learning experiences that really cater to each student's needs.
It's like giving every student their own personal math tutor.
That's a great way to put it,
Yeah.
yeah, but one that's infinitely patient and adaptable.
And one that never gets tired of explaining fractions.
Exactly. But really, the potential here is just immense.
It is.
Imagine a world where every student has access to these math learning experiences that are tailored to their strengths, their interests, their learning styles.
A world where math isn't something to be feared, but something to be explored and enjoyed.
That's the dream, right?
It is, and these apps are just the beginning.
Yeah.
So as technology continues to evolve, I can only imagine what the future holds for math education.
Me too. It's really exciting.
So what can our listeners do to be a part of this?
Well, I think the first step is just to be aware of the possibilities.
Okay.
Explore the resources that we've listed in the show notes.
Yeah.
Connect with other educators who are using these tools, and just don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah, just jump in and try it.
Exactly. And if you're a teacher, think about how you can use these apps to transform your own classroom.
Yeah.
Start small.
Okay.
Choose one app that you think aligns with your curriculum, and then just play around with it.
Experiment.
Exactly. See what works.
Share those experiences with your colleagues.
Collaborate.
Yeah.
Come up with new ideas.
And most importantly, never stop learning and exploring,
Absolutely.
because this world is constantly evolving.
It is. And the possibilities are truly endless.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the future of math education.
It's been my pleasure.
And remember, whether you're a student, a teacher, or just someone who's curious about the power of technology to transform learning, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, everyone, thanks for tuning into this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you later.